Hi, everyone. Welcome. Our recorders are getting synced. I'm trying a note taker recorder and the Zoom recorder. So happy New Year. So great to see you all here in the first call of 2025. Excuse me. And I thought we could go around the room and do our metaphor check-in. And in addition to a word or a phrase to describe how you're feeling about your work in progress, also, people have the custom of doing a word or phrase of the year. So I'm wondering if you use this custom, and if so, if you have something for this year. Or in Ezra's case, you can be silly if you want. But also, is it something that you like or want to consider doing? So can I throw it at you first?
So I'm a little confused. What's the custom that I've been doing every New Year?
No, it's a custom you haven't been doing, but it's
Oh.
a word or a phrase to people have like word of the year or phrase of the year. Well, mine's a phrase,
Ah,
that's why I say phrase, but often people talk about it as a word of the year. Like today, this year will be respect or listening to myself or luxury or whatever they choose.
okay.
So a word to be like a theme of the year. And I do a lot of planning. So every year for the last few years, I've had various levels of focus. So I use this in my planning, and maybe you want to also,
Yeah.
or not. That's okay. But why don't you start with a word or a phrase, a metaphor check-in?
Small steps is the word, uh,
Great.
because it relates to the metaphor check-in. Lately, so it's like um, a whole team of people cheering me on in a race, and every day I go two steps. They're like, "Yeah, way to go!" So it's like lately I haven't I haven't put a lot of my attention on advancing in writing, but I've been doing like 100, 200 words a day. So it that alone makes me feel like I've accomplished something.
That's
And
great.
I'm like right at the last chapter of this a rough draft. So
That you started November 1.
yeah.
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 Awesome. Great. Hooray. Let's give Ezra a cheer.
Right.
Every step counts.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. Yeah. Great. And how about, do you do a word of the year or phrase of the year? Would you like to for this year?
It would be small steps. That would be my
Mhm.
phrase of the year.
Oh, get it. I get it. I love it. Small steps is Ezra's. Excellent. All right. Nicole, you want to check in next? What is your metaphor check-in for today? And
Okay, so my metaphor check-in is I don't know, creative Moscato.
creative Moscato? What's Moscato?
Is that like a mojito? That's like
What?
a drink? Like a martini?
Well, no, it's wine.
What's a wine?
Oh,
It is a drink.
Ezra, what's it
It
called?
is a drink. Yeah, you're close. Wrong, right thing, wrong, wrong drink.
Definitely.
I love that.
Yeah.
so,
Oh, that's great.
Wonderful. Okay. And do you have a word of the year?
um, no, I don't. I do know people that. I mean, I don't know them personally, but I know like people in my newsletter not my newsletter, but different newsletters I'm in. People have words of the year. I've never looked at their words or anything. I do know that's pretty common.
Yeah. Okay. Are you inspired to do one for yourself?
I haven't been. I guess I haven't been, but I don't know.
It's one of those things you can check back in with yourself, on a monthly basis and see how it's going. If you want, to have a theme, a word, a focus for 2025, it can help focus you. Like maybe
Yeah.
finish might be a good word for you.
Oh Lord. Okay.
That one you could borrow Ezra's. You can borrow small steps if you want.
Or Swedish.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna borrow his.
You
Small
got it.
steps.
You
Yeah.
got it. I wrote it down. Got it. We'll
Okay.
revisit this. Excellent. Well, thank you for that check-in.
Yep.
Uh, oh, Diana, hi, welcome. Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, what's your metaphor check-in and your word of the year if you have one?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to prepare a metaphor check-in, and I was gonna say it feels like right now, like I've just come back from a vacation. And you know when you walk in after a really long, intense vacation and everything seems weird, even though this is your home?
Yeah.
And also you think, boy, do I need a vacation now that I've had my vacation.
Yes.
And so like I thought, oh yeah, that's my metaphor. And then I realized that's not a metaphor. That's my current status. Like I am that tired.
Yeah, for sure.
A metaphor, not metaphor.
And does that relate to your writing as well?
It definitely does. Like there's this odd strangeness right now where I'm just like, this is weird, you know? So, uh,
Okay.
you know,
Yep. Yep. I'll take.
yeah, hopefully I'll get over that soon.
Yeah. Hopefully will wear off pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and do you do a word of the year or phrase
You know, I typically don't, but certainly I had one come to mind because this is the year. So my husband and I are in the process of buying a home.
it?
Um, and the reason why we want to buy a home is because we want to start a family.
Mhm.
And so like all of those things that I actually never thought I would do, make me feel like an adult, even though like
I hate
technically I've been one for a while now. So, and
Yeah.
it's not like because I still feel like I'm faking it. I think my word would be adulting. Like I think I'm gonna adult right now because I'm not really an adult, but I'm gonna pretend.
Right.
So that's my theme for this year is I will be adulting this year.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's a really fun term that's come up over the last few years. And when I heard that, I'm like, I can so relate. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
That's really great. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you for sharing that. And when we see you next week at our next call,
Mhm.
uh, maybe you'll feel more settled. And you'll,
Yeah, well, I mean, like part of what's chaos is like mortgage application.
oh,
Like I
goodness.
am deep in the middle of
Yeah.
so like my vacation is actually my chaos, but I still think my metaphor is less of a metaphor than usual now right
Yeah.
now.
It really does. But if you were to put a metaphor on it or a
Mhm.
um, you maybe you could find one in uh, I don't know, like the way you walk into a child's room and all the toys are everywhere.
Mhm.
They've been having a great time, but you're like, what is this mess? You know, and they're like, you know, which is I relate to that child space, like what? But then I also relate to the adult space, like what is this mess? You know.
Yeah. The French phrase, since you speak French,
Mhm.
are you familiar with jamais vu, never seen?
Uh, I've heard it. I know what it means a little.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it as an expression. Jamais vu.
It's very rarely used. Déjà vu, of course, is the
Right.
so
Right.
common.
Yes.
Um, Jamais vu is the opposite experience where like you have seen or experienced something before, intellectually you understand that, and yet for some reason you just don't feel it, like you can't tell. And
Yeah.
that's what I have going on a little bit of like especially with my writing is jamais vu. Like I've done all this before. This ought to be same as usual. There's like a edge of strangeness to it. That's a little jamais vu for me.
Yeah. Oh, I can really relate to that. As a writer, I've had to start and restart. And
Mhm.
it's like I've been completely disconnected. Like, who are these people? What was my idea here? I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, I go through that fairly frequently. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for bringing le français into the conversation.
Sometimes I feel like I'm reinventing the time machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I keep going into the future and I can't remember having made the time
Time
machine.
machine. Yes. It was there an episode like that in Family Guy?
Maybe.
Multiple episodes.
Oh, yeah, they have tons of those.
Tons of
That's fun.
time machine episodes. Um, there was kind of a Doctor Who thing we saw recently where there was something similar. All right, so I'll do my metaphor check-in.
Yeah. Hi.
I feel like kind of like that. Like I'm halfway up the mountain and I'm at the base camp at 2,000 feet. And I'm like, I do know how to climb. I remember I've done it before, but I have to recreate everything, it feels like, but yet not really. So that's all right. And then I look around, I'm like, oh, I have all my gear, I have everything here, but I have to like reassemble. That's kind of like it, to reassemble the pack, put everything together and remind myself that, hey, I did all that climb. Now I got to go do the rest of the climb. I can do it. I can do it. Yeah, that's the metaphor.
Great.
And then word of the year, I have been jokingly but seriously saying that my word, that's really a phrase of the year, is sell, sell, sell.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then connected to that is also a lot of like, I'm going to sell in a way that works for me. I'm not going to do it the way the gurus say. And I'm going to find my way through just the way I do it with creative work. So yeah, that's that. Okay, woohoo. Let's do some free writing. And I have a topic for y'all. Because today we're continuing our conversation around backstory, I thought it would be fun to focus on what we're going to be doing, which is how to use nonverbal communication to show or hint at backstory. So, free write. Are you ready? Rocket, is that okay? Can he use his arm? Rocket is lying on one of Ezra's arms. So the free write exercise today is take a moment between two characters and create a action reaction or call and response nonverbal moment. So they might be looking at each other, or maybe one comes in for a hug and the other backs away. Or actually, can I tell a story about us?
Yeah.
So on our very, very first official date, we had a wonderful time. And then we're waiting at the bus stop. The evening is over and Ezra's going to get on the bus. And I was like, this was great. I'm definitely going to get a kiss out of this night. I lean towards Ezra for a kiss and he gives me his cheek. And then he gets on the bus. And I'm like, what? And I think we got on the phone afterwards and hashed it out. But that was a great example
Yeah,
of
she
like,
was sick and I didn't want to catch it.
I thought you were sick and
Or, oh yeah, that
didn't
might
want to
be
give it to me.
yeah.
Whatever it was. So, I mean, like, so if I were writing that scene from, say, the girl's point of view, who was all eager for the kiss, and then the guy turns the cheek, but still the feeling is good between them. But it's like, wait, did I miss something? And it makes it opens the question, like, well, what's going on, right? Like we want to know as the reader, ooh, what happened, or what's going on, or what's going to happen to this couple. So that's just one little tiny example from real life. And so the focus is writing nonverbal communication that is unexpected or wouldn't be what the readers expect, wouldn't be what the characters expect. So see if you can play with that. We'll do, so I'm gonna put that in the chat, nonverbal, there we go, communication. That's unexpected. Thank you, Zoom, for correcting all my typos as I write. Isn't that nice? Okay. 5 minutes. Does that sound good to everyone? And Nicole, if that doesn't quite make sense for you, just go ahead and keep working wherever you are in your current story. Any questions? Nope. Nicole, do you have any questions about what I just gave?
No.
Okie dokie. I'm opening up my timer. Great. I'll see y'all here in 5 minutes. All righty. That was 5 minutes. I turned on the record button, didn't I? How come I don't see it? Oh, there it is. They moved it.
Mhm.
All right. Go ahead and post your things in the chat. Oh, I found a typo. Zoom found a typo. I'm just gonna leave it. There we go. That was fun and interesting and totally related to what I was working on earlier today. So that was awesome. All right, let's check in with you, Nicole. How did that go? Did you do some work?
Yep, I got some writing in.
Yes, I am so
Great.
happy. Did you use any nonverbal communication?
No, I'm not sure where I can fit any in. Really.
Okay, no problem, no problem. In your story, it might be gestures, movements, the way people might touch an arm or move around. Yeah, cool. I'm really glad you got some work done. All right, let's jump to whatever order you want, Ezra.
Great. I'll just do it from top to bottom.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
Beth's. I slipped into DG's room as usual, but she wasn't in her usual spot on the couch with a book in hand, ready to ask me questions and make me think. I called for her, but heard no answer. So I rushed around the room, looking behind all the screens that had different sections of the room, the WC, the wardrobe, the office. I didn't want to check behind the screen where her bed lay. I didn't want to see her there. But out of many things DG taught me was
Fact.
the fact what was in front of me was the fact that what was in front of me
I could
I
process.
could process.
Thank you. More time.
I took a deep breath and shook out my hands to relieve the ever-present nerves and snuck around the screen, dividing the bedroom from the rest of DG's room. I gasped. There she was. I rushed to her side and thank the sun and darkness she opened her eyes a crack, tried to smile. I turned to go. She grabbed my arm. A jolt of pain rushed through me. She shook her head. She didn't want to tell the circle. Why not? I whispered.
I had to put in some dialogue. Thank you.
Great. So yeah, the non-vocal communication was that that smile and the turning to go, grab the arm. She shook her head. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
this is mine. Okay, this is Adila in the portal. Okay. Time to enter the home of the beast of fire. The doorway was ablaze. She'd have to walk through quickly. Did Trest and Bly have her back? She turned to them. Keep your eyes on me. She pointed to her eyes with a military gesture, then pointed those two fingers at Trest's eyes, then at Bly's eyes, then pointed a thumb to herself. Bly muttered to Trest, "Does she have a twitch?" "She wants us to have her back," Trest said. "I don't think so," Bly said. "She didn't point to her back." "Fear not, Adela," Trest called to her. "We shall protect you."
That's fun, using physical gestures and humor. Yeah, really fun and kind of cross-cultural communication, miscommunication. Yeah, that's fun. Great. You'll read Diana.
Great. Here's Diana's. Godfather Drosselmeyer reached into his pocket to pull out Clara's present. Clara held her breath, wondering what her present was. A bird? A cat? It was probably too much soap for a rhinoceros. Drosselmeyer grinned toothily as he drew out a nutcracker with a flourish. She stared in disappointment. The nutcracker wore an unnaturally bright red coat and an oversized black helmet. There were no big fluffy ears, no fur or feathers, and no tail. Drosselmeyer waved the nutcracker in front of Clara's face, but she shook her head with a frown.
Really wonderful. Nicely done, Diana.
Yeah.
We have her expectations, we have sort of the lead up and her behavior, and very well done. You could just see the movie played out in front of us. Excellent, excellent. So we're going to dive into some more backstory, obviously working on nonverbal communication for backstory. And I have prepared a document. And then we're going to do Diana edits. And also, hopefully, if we have time, we'll finish Nicole's from last time. All right, so let me bring my screen all the way up to the top. Okay. Today, it's all about integrating backstory. We were talking about this at the beginning of December. And it's interesting, how do you reveal backstory? And I think it's going to be a little different than what we think of with the other techniques. But I thought today we're going to review a little bit what we talked about last time and review what is backstory, why we need to know our characters' backstories, and briefly how we go about discussing backstory. And I have a little interesting story about that. We'll quickly review last time's material, and then today we're going to get to today's meat and potatoes, which is, again, revealing backstory through nonverbal communication. And it's basically taken from this article on my blog called Revealing Backstory Through Nonverbal Communication that Kay Kepler wrote. She's one of my critique partners, really fun writing teacher in these articles, and also a very good writer herself. So let us remind each other and remind ourselves, what is backstory?
The story of your back.
Story for your back. I wrote here story before the story, whatever comes before page 1. Is there any other definition we want to use for that? Does everyone agree with that, or any issues with that? Yeah, thumbs up. Everyone's good with that. I can't see the people.
Oh,
Diana. Diana, is that?
Yes, that's good.
And you see, Nicole, that definition of backstory, everything that comes before page 1?
Yep.
Cool. Great. And I had a fun dictionary definition, history or background created for a fictional character in a film or TV program, but obviously also a book. Great. We all agree with that. Okay. Why do we need backstory? I have some people I've heard, some writers, some TV and film writers think we do not need backstory. They think the characters should be whatever we see on the screen. But we're not TV and film writers, and I don't quite understand that school of thought. We're fiction writers. What's that?
I don't either. I don't get that.
I don't get that either, because the best characters we see on screen, they hint at backstory all the time.
Yeah, I mean, even like, the dramas like Chicago Med and stuff, a lot of times they have flashbacks, and, it's like.
Yeah, and they use it all the time, right? What I notice, big thing on my mind today, is that we need to know a character's backstory, so we need to understand why they do what they do and why they say what they say. And that starts with the author's job. It's the author's job to know those things. Yeah.
I was just thinking of Arrow, how they're always going back to the
Always
island.
going back to the island. Yeah. Especially that pivotal backstory that shaped your page 1 character. Whoever your character is on page 1 was dramatically shaped by something. I wrote a whole lesson on that in one of my classes called Not Your Mama's Backstory. Like you don't need to know every single detail of your character's past, but what you do need to know is essential to knowing your character is knowing what changed them to who they are on page 1. Usually every character has some defining moment, maybe more than one, that shapes them. And it's more realistic. Everyone has a past. Even amnesia characters have a past, and it's their past that is so fascinating that we all want to know. And anyway, so I think we're deeply shaped. We're not only shaped by our past, but we're mostly shaped by how we think of our past. All right. I think we have some echo if you don't. I'm going to mute you, Nicole. I'm sorry.
I'm just repeating everything you're saying.
Okay.
That's how the echo comes.
That's the echo. Yeah. Is there anything else? There's some other things we talked about last time. It creates a sense of continuity. It's a source of mystery, like what led to who they are, which we're going to actually talk about. You said that, Diana, last time. Hugh had said it creates a sense of relatability. so that we can relate to people, even if they come from different backgrounds. If we show their humanity through their past, they become very relatable. Cool. Is there anything else we want to mention about why backstory is so crucial? All right, let's move on. Okay, so I notice I develop backstory because people ask me questions. My critique partners ask me questions, which really helps. Like, why? Why do they do what they do? That's really helpful to me. Why do they do what they do? Why do they act that way? That kind of thing. Anybody have any questions around how to go about developing backstory? Does anyone get stuck when they work on their character's backstory? I guess that's a no. I can't quite see people's faces because of sharing my screen. Is there a way you can do it? Okay, good. Everyone's good with that?
I think so. I mean, I love the asking why part. So I don't really struggle with that because I think that's the most fun. When we're asked to answer questions like, what is this character's favorite music, where it's like maybe not relevant to that character. I mean, I understand if they have a favorite music if they're, let's say, a musician, but like I don't need to think up random details. So I do get stuck there just because it's not part of the cause and effect or the why.
Right. And the only thing would be relevant, like in your story where you had that ballerina dancing,
Yes.
whether or not the character recognizes that music, that's part of her past. Whatever her musical background is going to make her response in the moment relevant. And
right.
You as the author need to know that, for example. Cool. Great. And I know you, Ezra, I'm often asking you about your characters' backstories. And then you go off and figure things out.
Yeah, exactly. That's a flaw of mine, is to have fully developed backstories for all my characters, or at least the most prominent ones.
Yeah.
And so with Beth's questions, it's like, oh,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah. And for you, it would really benefit to, in your initial planning phase, to do a turning point backstory for all your main characters.
Yeah.
I think you could add that in. Cool. All right. So last time we talked about 3 techniques to bring your backstory into your front story. Haha. I like calling it a front story. Does anyone remember pop quiz? And I remember because I wrote an article about what I taught you guys. Pop quiz. Anyone remember what we talked about last time? It was a while ago. It was last month.
I mean, I remember the exercise we did.
Yeah.
It was like a time when. So, like I know we did use that tech, but I don't recall if that specifically was one of your 3 techniques. It felt like a technique.
It did. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'll quickly review them. It's about what a character thinks during the action that you can weave into the action. It's an inner thought where you might even think, oh yeah, that was like that time when blah, blah, blah. And then also dialogue, what they say to each other. Oh my God, remember that time when we climbed up to the Eiffel Tower and da, da, da. And then there's a 4th kind of bonus technique, which is the cutaway or the flashback, or the where when they say it was like that time, you could actually write the scene and show it and use it to humorous effect if you want. And so I wrote what we did into an article. Let me see if it shows up on the screen. Ooh, it does not show. I'll just show you real quick because I used AI actually to help me name the title, give it a title. So it's now called 3 Powerful Techniques to Weave Backstory into Your Novel. And then the AI took the lesson I fed it and it called it 3 Cool Things. So we have the inner moment technique. And then we have the memory bridge, which is there was that time when, or it was like that time when, and then examples, and then the dialogue gateway. That's how they named yours. I just thought, why not? Let's use these. And then the bonus, the creative cutaway. And so it's same material we went over in class, and it's in the with the resources, so I can show that to you. I can send that to everyone. I can send you all this document. Where to go? Okay, here it goes. Okay, so yes, so you can review, and we did prompts, and that was fun. All right, so today, this feels very obvious, but let's ask the question anyway. What do we mean when we say let's reveal backstory through nonverbal communication? put it in your own words. What does it mean? What do you think, Ezra? Based on everything you know and the work we've done.
Well, the way I took it based off of our exercise was by having a character understand this kind of military gestures, we know the backstory. He's got a military background, whereas the other character could make no sense of it. And
Has no background in
no
that.
military.
Yeah.
And it's an accurate assessment of these two characters.
Right. So you are showing through behavior where the characters come from or don't come from in this particular in the scene you wrote. Yeah, cool. How about you, Diana? What do you think it means revealing backstory through nonverbal communication?
I'm thinking about two particular components. So like one is I think you see a lot of that in reactions, character reactions. But then also I was thinking the other way that I see a lot of that is especially nonverbal, we're talking about subtext. So even if they're not like usually I see it in reactions, but like even if they're not reacting to something, but they're about to initiate their own action, usually the nonverbal is the subtext. So that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, right. I mean, subtext is often that we're revealing something that is opposite what is said or done. And so there's another layer of meaning underneath. Yeah. And I think nonverbal communication absolutely is revealing that. Great. How about you, Nicole? What do you think of, or what do you understand when it means revealing backstory through nonverbal communication?
I guess like when the audio describer well, I was going to say like when the audio describer describes something as part of the movie or the film or the TV show that's visual, but I don't know if that's really
Well, does your audio describer, does it describe people's actions and behavior?
Yeah, they describe the visual stuff.
Yeah, so they might say, he moved across the room or he shook the guy's hand or something like that.
Yeah, they do it in present tense, but so you've never watched anything that's been audio described apparently.
I haven't, but let's come back to books though, since we're dealing in the world of prose, of fiction, narrative fiction. I imagine you listen to the audiobook and they're reading the book. Do you notice how the author will describe people's reactions to each other?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like if it's yeah. Like especially like if it's an R.L. Stine book or something.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. People's facial reactions to each other, people's reactions to fear. R.L. Stine is great with that. Good.
Yep.
Good. Okay. Well, let's move on. So the article basically, I have a summary here, which I won't read, but the key points of this article is showing, when we use nonverbal communication, we can really show the character's authentic response. We can show their learned and automatic response. We can bring the past into the present by how people respond to each other. And what we're going to focus on today is the types of revealing reactions. So there's the expected reaction, how we all expect each other to behave. There's the unexpected reaction, which is great for raising questions. There's defensive body language showing that there might have been a past conflict of some kind. And then there's inconsistent behavior revealing something. Eventually we'll know what the truth is. So what I did today as an example, and I'm going to invite you to do it in a moment. Well, Kay says, she just tells us this example. She doesn't give us a prose thing, which I wrote something. As we'll read it in a moment. So let's say you have a female character who has a complicated relationship with her mother, but you don't need to say, she had a complicated relationship with her mother. You can show it by how the daughter responds. So in Kay's example, the daughter could respond defensively or stand stiffly through a hug, or maybe she frowns when the mother approaches. So I took this idea of a difficult relationship between a daughter and a mother, and I wrote a scene that went in some unexpected ways. So Ezra's going to read it, and we're going to see if we can identify what is the nonverbal, the physical movements the person is making, and what might it reveal. All right, and it's a first draft. There's probably typos, and Ezra's going to read it.
I walked into the birthday party. Mom was in the center, martini in hand, laughing and glowing up all the attention. I edged around the babbling and fawning friends, but Mom saw me and called me over. I shook my head and pointed to the drinks table. Mom gestured me over again, a bright smile on her face. I turned away, but froze when Mom announced me to the whole friggin' party. What could I do? I had to turn and wave, my face hurting at the fake smile stretching my face.
Sorry.
My dear daughter, everyone, Mom beamed. The crowd practically pushed us together. I stiffened at Mom's hug, but still managed to whisper in her ear. I know what you did. Mom didn't miss a beat, pulled back and giggled at her friends as if she hadn't heard me, as if she hadn't done what she'd done. As soon as I was clear and ducked in under this sycophantic friends.
Oh, it should be as soon as I was clear.
As soon as I was clear, I ducked under the sycophantic friends and rushed to the drinks table for 2 shots of Jack. Then I was out of there. How did it go? Jillian asked when we met up at the bar later that night. She's afraid, I laughed bitterly into my cheap beer and hitched my ratty purse over my shoulder. But she'll pay, eventually. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. What are you playing at? I showed Jillian and she laughed and clapped her hands. You got her on the hook. The door jingled and Chen entered the dingy sad bar. He nodded at me, pointed to Jillian, then slipped into a booth. I scratched the side of my face. Yep, we were in play. When I see that scratch the side of my face, I think embarrassed or ashamed, not shame, but like,
It's meant to be a signal.
oh,
Uh,
okay.
but yeah, that's okay.
But it's true. I mean, he's gesturing. He nodded at me, pointed to Jillian, then slept at the booth. And so I guess they were all in play because it's the 3 of them. He's gesturing to the 2 of them. I signaled with a scratch on the side of my face. Oh, good. Yep, we were in play.
So notice how I tried to play with the tension between the mom and the daughter. Did that come across?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For me, anyway.
Yeah. And it became a little bit like something else because Ezra and I are rewatching Leverage. So it became like there's maybe a con. There's a con happening. I don't know what it is. I was just writing off the cuff. Anything else that you notice about this piece in terms of all the nonverbal communication going on between these people? Diana, do you notice anything?
I mean, you said a lot of it, to be honest. Like, it's interesting because in the beginning, it feels more like Mom's the one who's faking because she's being pretty clear with her language that she doesn't want to be near Mom. She's edging around friends. She's ignoring calls to come over until they're forced on her. And then when she finally is pushed against her mom, she stiffens and says, I know what you did. Whereas Mom's reaction of like pretending that her daughter hadn't said anything really feels like, okay, Mom's pretending. But then as soon as we get back to the bar, that's when it that flipped for me because I was not expecting the friends to sort of have secret signals or need to slip into a booth to probably have a quiet discussion. And the internal thoughts of we were in play too. I was like, this is you're totally right. As soon as you said leverage, I was like, okay, everyone's playing everyone is what's going on in here.
I realized when I watched Shannon, I'm like, ooh, there's actually something going on with Jillian that they're working another angle with her. But Jillian thinks she's in on it, but actually she's not. She's also being hooked, is what came to me when I was working on it. Okay, cool. Any observations, Nicole, from looking at this example?
Um, not really.
Okay. Do you understand kind of what we mean by nonverbal communication? We have gesturing, we have hugging, but like she stiffens in her mom's hug, she's people are communicating with their body gestures, that kind of thing, and making us wonder like what is really going on? What's happening here? So it not only is it revealing that there's another layer that we're curious about, right? It pulls us forward. It's a great tool for suspense.
Yeah.
Which we love.
Okay. And I guess because with me being blind, I mean, I know that people do body language, but
Right.
you know,
Yeah. And in your case, it might not be that relevant to how you tell stories and how you process story. So that's okay. No problem.
yeah.
Any other ideas around nonverbal communication? I mean, we covered a lot of stuff in the example and talking about it in your examples. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that you want to use in your work or you're thinking, oh, what about this? What about that? Something we didn't say. I didn't have any examples because I'm like, I think we've said it all, but just in case. Anything else?
I mean, for me, especially Nicole, hearing about your experience and thinking trying to imagine what the world must be like for you, since I obviously don't know. Um, an almost equivalent version is voice tone. Like it's interesting because yes, it's verbal, words are being spoken, but the tone that's used as it's being spoken, I think,
Mhm.
is the nonverbal component that it can convey so much.
Yeah, really good. Because you could say, dude, 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 right?
Yep. Yep.
Classic example. Or, you could write on your page, what's going on? He ground out with, barely opening his mouth or whatever, like, what's going on? Right? So yeah, we can do a lot of things to convey the way things are spoken. That's great. And just some caveats around these Kay says, use unusual reactions sparingly. Be sure that you create coherent patterns of behavior. I love it when my critique partners point out my character is seemingly not acting consistent. And I notice it in other people's work as well. And be sure that everything feels, that the reactions you have your characters do support the backstory. And it's really wonderful to place these revelations at key story moments. And she highlights the power of three. So using them in combination with each other, I think is really powerful. Different versions, layering, um, past, present, and letting the readers piece it together. And then the whole point of all of this is to reveal character history naturally and not do info dumps and not do pause the story to dump things in there and to give the readers subtle hints because we're all reading body cues. Those of us who are visual, those of us like for you, Nicole, maybe you're reading a lot by the way people speak, how they speak, their tone. So it's not just the words they say, but it's also the tone of voice. All right, so now let's take a moment. Let's do another 5-minute free write. Take your free write that you did earlier today, if you want to, or and add some more in there. See if you can add in or keep going if you want, or pick another moment where you can focus in on nonverbal cues, body gestures, tone of voice, something. And for you,
Okay.
Nicole, keep writing. But maybe in
Okay.
your case, I would be curious, can you pay attention to tone of voice? So it's not just what is said, but it's how it's said. Is that something that you pick up on that you can include in your fiction? I'd be really curious.
Okay.
All right. Any questions, Ezra?
No,
Okay.
I think I got
Think
it.
you got it? All right. I'll see y'all in 5 minutes. Go ahead and share. Enjoy my typos. All right, typos and all. Okie dokie. How was that like doing that exercise?
It was like a peanut butter sandwich, except you're not making it. You're the size of an ant trying to run across the peanut butter.
Okay,
Yeah,
that says everything
that's what it was like.
and nothing. All right, let's read what we have. Okay, that was the other ones. Ezra, you want to start with yours? Looks like yours was first.
Right. I want to go backwards actually
Okay.
this time.
Go for it. Because great, Diana's then.
Godfather Drosselmeyer reached into his pocket to pull out Clara's present. Clara held her breath, wondering what her present was. A bird? A cat? It's probably too much so for a rhinoceros. Drosselmeyer grinned toothily as he drew out a nutcracker with a flourish. She stared in disappointment. The nutcracker wore an unnaturally bright red coat and an oversized black helmet. There were no big fluffy ears, no fur or feathers, and no tail. Drosselmeyer enthusiastically waved the nutcracker in front of Clara's face, but she shook her head with a frown. He lowered the nutcracker slightly, eyebrows raised in surprise. Oh, Clara, look at the lovely gift your godfather made for you. Mama appeared in a rustle of blue satin, took the nutcracker from Drosselmeyer and handed it to Clara. But what's wrong with you, Drosselmeyer? Mama stared at him as his wide smile slipped down his face like a souffle collapsing in a bakery. Drosselmeyer ignored Mama and kept staring at Clara, who dropped her eyes to the ground.
Wonderful. So much going on there.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that. And then bringing the mother in. Wonderful dynamic. Yeah.
Why not? I whispered. DG shook her head, a tiny shake, another arm squeeze, so painful. She knew what physical touch cost me. Then she let me go. It had to be important then. It had to do with what she wanted. I had to do what she wanted. I left her room and stomped back and forth in the hall in front of her door. No one usually came to visit her at this hour. They knew it was my time. I stomped in the direction of the infirmary. No, but Doc needed to know. No. But I stomped the other, right, no. But I stomped in the other direction. Rag was due back with the mystery passenger. There was no way of not telling her. No fair. But what could she do? She stomped back the other way. Maybe should tell Doc anyway. She'd know what to do. She helped everyone. Well, except for herself, but that wasn't her fault. She'd done her best. Isabel was just an unusual case. She laughed bitterly. Always an unusual case. Story of her life.
Thank you. Yeah, it should be story of. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. I had fun with that stomping and like the direction she was facing, indicating different parts of the station and making her think of the different people and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, time to enter the home of the Beast of Fire. The doorway was ablaze. She'd have to walk through quickly. Did Trest and Bly have her back? She turned to them. While the others faced away, watching Trest and Bly's backs, Trest and Bly focused on her. It was like when Abraham held her hand when she was dizzy, taking care of her, making sure she was okay, knowing exactly what she needed. Keep your eyes on me. She pointed to her eyes with a military gesture, then pointed those two fingers at Trest's eyes, then at Bly's, then pointed a thumb to herself. Bly muttered to Trest, "Does she have a twitch?" "She wants us to have her back," Trest said. "I don't think so," Bly said. "She didn't point to her back." Okay, maybe they didn't know exactly what she needed. Fear not, Adela, Tress called to her. We shall protect you. She rolled her eyes. Bly said, now her eyes have a twitch. She faced the scorching doorway and gulped.
Really fun. So you added in this wonderful, it was like when, like this memory.
Yeah.
That was really lovely and gave us another layer of understanding. Come here. Yeah, come here. Come here. Rocket is meowing at us like, his life depends on it. Like if he doesn't get our full attention, I don't know. He has food. I fed him before class. Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some critique. We have Diana's words up. Let's see. Chapter 1. Oop, that's not chapter 1. Rocket, stop that. Come here. Do you see chapter 1? Oh, you see it. I don't see it. No, that's not it.
It's in the title.
Then yeah, it's there, but I just don't see it. Let's try again. Like this. There it is.
Yeah.
Clara stood on her tiptoes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great. So I thought we could read page 1. Is that okay, Diana? I know you gave me more than.
Yeah, I just didn't want to lose it. That's all.
Yep. I'm glad that you gave it to me. So what feedback would you like from us?
This is a rewrite of the first chapter one that you all may or may not recall. But I was trying to have it be have more action. So I would be curious to get your feedback on whether you feel that or not, and also sort of I mean, it's hard to have first impressions when you've already read one version, but if you think of it as what's intended to give first impressions, sort of how that feels. And then I accept any other feedback too. I think it's always interesting where you all go.
Okay, excellent. So is there more action, first impressions, even though we've looked at this, but it's been a while, and any other feedback that we come up with? So any kind of grammatical stuff or dibby-dabby line edit type thing is okay if people find it. Okay, Ezra. So we're just going to read page 1, and you have it there? Good.
Yep.
Okay.
Clara stood on her tiptoes, reaching for the massive book. Why did Mama insist that all her favorite books go on the highest shelf in her room? Her fingernail scraped at the slightly rippled leather, trying to get purchase. Finally, she hooked one finger in the depression made by the book's binding. She pulled. The leather tome slid from the shelf and bounced off her temple. Clara sat down with a thud, feeling hot pain pulse rapidly above her right eye. The pulsing matched the pitter-patter of her parents and family servants as they bustled downstairs in preparation for the Christmas Eve party. The book lay innocently next to her, its cover facing up to the ceiling. Clara blinked a few times as the title, The Exotic Creatures of Africa, came into focus. Her eyes drifted around the bedroom, feeling its strange cleanliness anew. Gone were the piles of books and the collections of leaves and rocks scattered across the floor, treasured symbols of her varied adventures. The books, once within easy reach, were now all stacked on tall bookshelves, ruining her former intuitive disarray. Her beloved collections were hidden under the ruffled curtains, rimming her four-poster bed. Once again, she was struck how the gilded prison of holiday planning had seeped into every corner of her room, robbing it of its former life. Rubbing her forehead resentfully, Clara picked up The Exotic Creatures of Africa and slowly stood up. Her book slipped slightly on the slippery fabric of her uncomfortable party dress. She gripped it more securely, pressing the tome against the tight-back black silk ribbons that crisscrossed her dress. Prickly green brocade scratched her legs as she walked to the window alcove. The unnaturally bare hardwood parquet reflected the light of the burning oil lamps, casting harsh shadows that only accentuated the emptiness. The once vibrant space was sterile, suffocating. an empty shell that echoed with the absence of her chaotic sanctuary.
Thank you. Page 1.
Great.
All right. So feedback. First impressions, how's the action, and any other feedback?
I don't remember if this was there before, but if it was, I love it. And that is how the tome hit her head.
Oops. Yeah. Sorry, I meant to put to comment as you wrote. Yeah, great. Great.
Yeah. It cast a little more conflict. The suffering of getting what you want. There was something that bothered me and was very good. It,
Okay.
I think it had a good result. Um, First of all, I'm a guy who likes thriller genre, and so this may not even fit. Like, so I'm of the genre that wants to read fast pacing. And so this goes into detail about what the room was like and is no longer. And it does that a lot in different ways. And so my thriller mind was like, oh, come on, the next thing. And what's in the book? I really want to see what's in the book. But the thing is, that's what makes it so great is you got that out of me. So that's why I'm reluctant to say this is wrong. and so it's I I think if you want the result of a reader named Ezra to feel like, oh, I really want to know what's in the book, then you succeeded.
You know, I sat down and I thought, how can I do that with Ezra this morning?
Well done.
Well done.
Kudos.
Well done. Great. Great. Well, thank you for that feedback. Nicole, do you have any feedback? First impressions, what did you think about the action and any other feedback you want to offer?
Well, it was slow. Like,
You write very fast-paced stories also,
Right.
and
Yeah.
like thriller suspense. Yeah.
yeah. So I guess I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I thought it would be like fast paced. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, it's good. It's good to know. We don't write for every kind of reader.
Yeah.
And what both of them are touching on, Diana, is an indication of kind of what kind of story this is. And I was realizing that you have such a great description in this one page about what her room was like and what it's like now and how it's depressing that I'm wondering if here in the first sentence we can get a sense of her opinion of where this book is. I mean, we have Why Did Mama Insist? But I want a more emotional reaction, like no fair, right? Or stupid, this is stupid, or like what is that simple emotional response to having to reach for this book in this way? Like this book shouldn't be there, so I like Why Did Mama Insist? But really it's why this book, like this is an important book to her. So I'm just curious if you could rephrase this and make it even more specific. I think that's probably the overall message, I think, of what I'm trying to say. So, to relate to this book and what's her emotional, huh? well, I kind of want to know her like this simple emotional reaction. That's it, I think, to the fact that this book is up there so high and she has to reach for it and struggle for it. Now, the other thing is that we're signaling to the reader in this first page, like this is, I would say literary, right? A literary style
Yeah.
that you've got here. And there's totally, for the right readers, this is going to be fine.
Yeah, they'll love it. They'll
Yeah.
eat it up.
And you do a good job bringing in emotion. I know it's something you talked about. But there's some ways that you could bring it in even more. And I wanted to point one place out. So anytime you have a noun like bedroom, you can add an emotional adjective here. Like you could say it's actually kind of akin to what you were saying earlier, the jamais vu. It's like her bedroom that didn't feel like her bedroom, right? Is that what is going on here?
Yeah, actually, as soon as I read Strange Cleanliness anew, I was like, oh my gosh, it's a theme for today.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to use a word, but I think it's maybe too adult for her, but I wanted to say the astringent bedroom. I don't think that's the right word. It's almost too intellectual, but like the something, I don't know what goes here. I would have to think about it. But there was something else I thought was an easier, let's see, we have Beloved Collections, which I love. We have Gilded Prison, which I love. Thinking of its former life. I'm sorry, I cannot remember where it was. I think, okay, well, this is more of a ongoing conversation you and I have around adverbs. I don't really know what it looks like to rub a forehead resentfully. So how do we indicate she's resentful? What is she thinking? What is she doing? Is it a frown? Is it
Right. I was wondering, like, would it be a frown while erasing the pain in her at her forehead?
right? She's frowning. Also, interiority, is she thinking stupid book or stupid party, really is probably what she's thinking. So what is going on inside? We're always narrating our lives. And so I'm curious, something else instead of resentfully. This made me laugh, slipped slightly on the slippery fabric. So I thought, oh, you need a synonym here.
Another, yeah, yep.
Needs more
Classy, dicey, sneaky. Yeah, none of those.
And I'm not sure it needs to be an S. That was a bit much.
I was thinking, well, what kind of fabric is it? Is it satiny? Is it slipped? Like what kind of fabric?
like wool or
No, it wouldn't be wool,
It's I mean, it's a combination of silk and brocade.
And if it's the slippery parts is probably you said silk?
Yeah, like the silk ribbons.
Silky. So yeah, I don't really think you need this. I think the reader would kind of intuit this.
Yep.
They don't need the word slightly. The tome. Oh, here we go. The tome. The tome. Okay, so here's where you can add emotion. You could say something like precious, something like that, because that is what it is for her, right? I love this description: prickly green brocade, tight black silk ribbons. I know you worked hard to give us some definitions or some specificity there. I really enjoyed it. And I think I'm going to stop there, but I feel like for what it is, yeah, I like that you added the book hitting her head, and I think you just need some more specifics about her very specific response to the book being up so high. And the fact that she's reaching for it, that says something about her. Like she loves her books. She's even risking grabbing this book, and she's unhappy that the party is the room is all set up for the party.
Yeah. I do have one question.
Yeah.
Because you talked about the promise is this is a little literary. To be honest, a lot of this is heavily influenced by your questions about tell me more, I want specifics, give me the location, etc. So I wasn't quite sure if I was, since you're the one who's read more chapters than anybody else on this call, I wasn't sure if my novel fulfilled the promise or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'm getting at, because it does become a portal fantasy, and I had this conversation with someone else this morning,
Yep.
another client who's writing a portal fantasy. It's like, how do you foreshadow that this is a portal fantasy here?
That's why I have the prologue.
Yeah,
Which you might recall. I don't know.
I recall. But even
Yeah.
in the everyday life, I think portal fantasy needs to hint, and you kind of do a little bit with the fact that the exotic creatures of Africa, like there's where she is, and there's the exoticness of where she might want to go. So I don't quite have an answer for it. I think a reader would read the back cover blurb and know that it's going to be
Yeah.
a fantasy, and anticipate that, and might be enough. Um, and a lot of stories that are already set in a fantastical world, it's a little easier to indicate the strangeness that's about to come. So I don't have an answer right this minute, but it's something that I would think about
Mhm.
and study other books that are portal fantasies. And how do we part of, I mean, a lot of people use Narnia as the holy grail of portal fantasies. And I realized in my discussion earlier today with another client that portal fantasy is about people leaving, usually a situation they don't like. Like even in Alice in Wonderland, isn't she bored?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like if you included in this opening how much Clara wishes she were somewhere else, doing something else. If you just added that a little bit more of that, I mean, we get that she's sad that her room is all clean, but if we also hear her wish, like she wishes she could be running in the woods, anywhere but here, but mama says I have to be here because of the stupid party. Like that would then give us the, oh, she was wishing for something else in a different something. Now we
Mhm.
know, then you fulfill the promise by giving her that
I see.
that thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise we're like, what does this person want? She just wants the book. Is that all? No, what does she really want? What does she wish above all things? What is that secret in her heart of hearts?
Mhm.
And we have to hint at it at the beginning of a book. We have to know what we have to know where they are, what they want, and what's in her way. Well, we know where she is, and we know what's in her way is like the neatness that takes away her wonderful chaos. But we don't know what she truly yearns for. It could even be like, when I'm grown up, like this would really work for your story. When I'm grown up, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, she actually does declare that later on. I think though the first hint we get of want is it used to be literally first paragraph, but I think now it's probably page two.
Okay.
Wishing she could ride a rhinoceros. If you recall, that's what's in the book is a rhinoceros, and so she's like, I wish I could ride this.
So I would be really thinking a lot, how do you put that in this first paragraph?
Mhm.
How dare her rhinoceros book be so high up? She wanted to go into her imagination and ride a rhinoceros.
Mhm.
Why did Mama and then it would then if and that might help. You could keep this sentence. Why did Mama insist that all her favorite books, especially this book?
Mhm.
So if you told us a little bit more, yeah, it's right here. Her yearning is right here in this first sentence, but we just don't know what it is.
Right.
We're on the outside, so we need to come inside of Clara when she's doing this moment.
It's like
Um,
if it were like reaching for the massive book, a magical gateway to a better place.
Mhm.
yeah. Um, Gateway? Gateway.
Gateway.
There we go. Gateway. Cool. Well, we're going to stop here. I hope that was helpful.
Mhm.
It was helpful for me to be doing this with others. I find critiquing is really a group affair,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And that's why I do this. Excellent. Well, That's all the time we have, folks. Let's wrap up. Say what your aha and takeaway was for today. I'd love to hear. And your next step. What is your next step? Ezra, aha, takeaway, next step. Or
Aha is the premonition on like
foreshadow?
the foreshadow on the first page. And the so there's aha and next step and what else?
Aha, takeaway.
Takeaway.
Which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, okay. And then next step is to write my next sentence.
Yay, next sentence. Woo. How about you, Nicole? Any takeaways or ahas from today? And what's your next step?
So I hate to steal Ezra's, but
Oh, do it.
I'm thinking about foreshadowing with this work that I'm working on, and another project I already started, and I've been running around with ChatGPT, but I didn't think, well, okay, in this other piece of work, I have a character who comes from a cult, and she takes things literally. Like if you say it's raining cats and dogs, she's going to say, I don't see any cats and dogs.
Yeah.
And she's 14, and so anyway, so I was thinking I probably need to foreshadow some stuff, not just with that work, but with my current work, like maybe some foreshadowing dealing with like the equal rights ceremony, like that kind of thing.
I love it. That's great. How about you, Diana? Any takeaways or ahas and your next steps?
Yeah, I mean, one of my ahas is realizing that the first draft of my chapter 1 contained a lot of stuff that was important to have in the very beginning, what she wants.
Mhm.
And like it, and my takeaway for that is like if I can somehow do a tighter job of combining like the details that you're pushing out of me with the instinct for the desire that I originally had built in, I think it'll end up being a lot stronger.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. It feels, I know this process is very, well, from my side, it's a very intuitive process. And I know it can be very challenging. Also, from a writer's perspective, I know that it can be very like, what am I going to do? How do I do this? It's a big, beautiful puzzle, which you're very good at. And so am I. So that's, I think novelists, we have to like these big, beautiful puzzles that are hard to solve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, great job. So my job is my takeaway in AHA is keep going. And so it's to ask you all what we will focus on next week. Something that's come up is this notion of foreshadowing. But also in the context of page 1, how do we hint at the kind of story the reader is going to have or the kind of experience? So that might be something we can focus on next week. Or maybe there's something else that you would all prefer that we focus on.
So what other topics haven't we covered that would fit?
Well, I mean, there's always things. It's really kind of driven by the needs that you bring to the group. And so I'm really asking you all because it needs to come from you. Diana, do you have a preference?
I mean, it resonated with me when you talked about the beginning a story and making a promise, because obviously my head is there right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so important. I mean, that's why instead of sending you all like later sections of my novel, I go back to the beginning over and over. Whether it's the prologue or chapter 1, I'm constantly obsessing over that.
Yeah. So am I. And in fact, that was, the backstory I've been working on today. I'm like, I'm going back to page 1 because I need to make sure these important secondary characters, we see who they are, why they do what they do, and all that. So how about for next time, everybody sends in the first paragraph of their story, or like 4 or 5 sentences max. And I will in the newsletter and in the email reminder, and we can analyze each other's together. We'll analyze each other's beginnings. So no more than like 4 or 5 sentences or your first paragraph, kind of. So it could be the first 2 paragraphs, depending on your length. I mean, 4 to 5 sentences. That's what I'm going to say. And we'll look at, is it clear? Do we know who the character is? Do we know what they want? Do we know where they are? And do we have a hint of what they're up against? And the readers, modern readers, need to know those things right away. And that's also how we pull people in. We don't pull them in with backstory. We don't pull them in with, what happened before page 1. We really want to see them in. And then, of course, we have to do it, create an action moment where it's a scene. Things are happening. People are speaking. People are interacting. Or the person is interacting with their surroundings. Cool. So we'll do that for next time. And I had queued up who our writer is next time, but I'm spacing on. Where did I put it? Here we go. No, that's not it.
So you want us to prepare just the
Hugh.
first 3 or 4 chapters?
We wish.
Did you say Hugh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. You had it. Okay. So I will, and I think Hugh will be here next week. And then real quick. So yeah, next week is our third. I don't know where I am coming or going. Next week is our second of the month, and there is a writing sprint this coming Sunday, and so those are on the 2nd and 4th Sunday of the month, and then there's a lot of upcoming events. Where's the thing? Thought I had called up the thing. I'm getting really hungry, and I just spent 2 hours today working on tomorrow's newsletter. Oh, that's why this is here. Okay, so because I put all the events here. So some fun things coming up. A friend of mine, another writing teacher, has a cool sale going on. That will be in tomorrow's newsletter, selling 3 of her classes at a little bit of a discount. I'm starting a new thing this year for all the students and clients. So that includes you all. You're all welcome to come to the monthly office hours, which is going to be 11 a.m. on Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Mountain, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. your time, Nicole, Eastern, right? You're in Eastern?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's going to be for an hour, hour and a half at the most. They will be recorded. It's like Q&A. I'll do a little spiel on something, probably a little teaching moment, and take people's questions. And I'm doing that for everybody who's purchased anything in the past, and all my current clients as well. And I might invite some of my past clients who I really liked, who aren't with me, but I'm like, you're so awesome, come hang out. And then so that's next week. Oh, and then there's also there's this panels are happening starting the 19th. So that's actually in a little bit. 2 panels I'm going to be in for this fantasy sci-fi horror event. These are free events. I'm going to be at one panel on how to market through emails, do's and don'ts, and another panel with a bunch of other authors on writing advice, what to take, what to leave, that kind of thing.
These are online.
These are all both online, yeah, and free panels. And then there's more stuff coming, including we're going to do an in-person fundraiser for the film on March 15th, on Saturday, March 15th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm going to be in a really lovely mindset summit at the beginning of February. I'm going to be in the AI Writing Summit 2.0 later in February. And then I'm going to present at I'm going to do a play shop at someone's community. And then hopefully I'll be doing an in-person talk locally in the middle of March or April. And then I have a new client who I'm training to be a book coach, and she's going to talk about writing the romantic subplot, and she's going to do that at the end of April, and that's going to be fun.
Let's see,
because she's a romance author.
In it, just about every book,
yeah,
there could be like a romantic subplot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think it's a great thing to bring to science fiction and fantasy writers. You have a romantic subplot in your story, Diana, don't you?
Well, it's very strong in the ballet, so it was good for me because I normally ignore that element, and I clearly couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And if you know of places that you think I could speak at, podcasts, communities that I could zoom in at, or if someone's got the budget and wants to fly me in, that's awesome too. Let me know. Fly me in. Awesome. So Ezra's word of the year or phrase of the year is small steps. Diana's word of the year is adulting. Nicole's phrase of the year is also small steps. And mine is sell in collaboration with others. All right, that's it. And lastly, but not leastly, we're having for dinner
Pizza.
pizza, or you might have pizza. I might have the rest of the beef stew that I
Oh,
made the other day
nice.
because
Oh,
so
Yeah.
good, so good. All right, everyone. I'll see you next week. Maybe some of you will come to the I was going to say happy hour. It's not a happy hour. The live Q&A next Tuesday at 11 a.m. It'll be coffee hour, not a happy hour.
yeah, right, exactly.
We'll have to,
Alcohol could make office hours a lot more interesting. Just saying, you know?
if I weren't
Yeah, but
allergic.
if it was happy hour, we would probably all be drunk by the end of
That's
the
right. That's right. And I can't really drink most alcohol, so I wouldn't be any good to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for staying a little bit extra, and I'll see you all next time. All right. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.